welcome to episode 2.
Welcome to you, Jessica. How's it going?
Fantastic. Guys, I'm so excited. We are doing the second episode in this job interview series today for you. And today we are going to talk about common job interview questions. Tell you how they're changing now, because when you find lists of common job interview questions, maybe it's an old list. Maybe that's not true anymore. The economy has changed. The world has changed. So we're going to dive into some more modern common questions so you know what to expect, give you some advice for those questions, and then, of course, do a little role play.
Yes, and you guys make sure if you want to know what is your business English fluency level, we have a free 2-minute quiz you can find out. So go to allearsenglish.com/work quiz, and you'll also get free resources at your level once you get your level. So check that out today.
So in the last lesson, we talked about the importance of standing out in a job interview, right? Be honest, right? Just be yourself in the job interview. But here's my question. Should you get really personal in a job interview? Like, what's appropriate and not appropriate?
Right. This is tricky, right? You definitely don't want to get so personal that you're going to get emotional, right? You don't want to share about like a family member that's passed if that might make you cry.
I know,
you don't
right?
want to create anything awkward or get too personal when this is your first interaction with someone and you want to make a good impression. So yes, be honest. You're going to share personal details about your work experience and your strengths, but don't share personal details that would be awkward or, too personal.
Right. So here's the thing, guys. Like, only go personal, be honest if it relates positively to the job and the position. You know what I mean? Like, if the question is, describe your weakness or whatever, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Don't say, I choose the most horrible romantic partners. That has nothing to do with the job.
It is so awkward for someone that you just met. They don't want to know that.
Terrible. Keep it, it's appropriate if it relates to the job, guys.
Yeah,
right?
The role play in the last, if you missed our previous installment in this series, the role play where Jessica was talking about loving ballet and specifics about that's personal, but it's appropriate for the question. It's appropriate for the job. So that works, right?
Exactly. In our Business English course, Business English for the Global Professional, we talk about the differences in conducting business online and in person. Do you think that applies to job interviews?
Yes.
Do you think it's different doing an in-person interview compared to online?
Definitely. As we do this more and more, we're used to talking over Zoom. It's getting less strange for people. But initially, I remember my first online interview feeling sort of strange because you're used to being one-on-one with a person in the same room and reading from their cues and sort of having more of that interaction. And that's a little trickier to do when it's just a video, either over Zoom, or often video interviews are just you recorded answering questions just yourself with no one else to have a back and forth with. So it is different. It is a little harder, I think, to be yourself and let your personality shine when there's not a person to have that interaction with.
Totally. But regardless of where you're doing the interview, online or in person, guys, all of our tips in this series apply to both.
Yes.
Even though they might be more difficult to apply online, you still have to be yourself and you still have to show your strengths and your personality in a positive way. So guys, these days with the global economy shifting, company priorities are shifting as well, right? So common interview questions these days are often about soft skills, right? Soft skills are becoming more important than in the past. So Aubrey, what are soft skills?
Yeah, for example, leadership ability, your personality, different aspects of your personality, if you're able to multitask, your self-awareness, how well you have interactions with others. These are all soft skills that are vital in today's economy. And employers care about these. They want to work with people that are easy to work with.
Yes, exactly. I can't tell you how many articles I've seen come across in Forbes and the New York Times business section about like emotional intelligence and how that applies in the workplace. So guys, soft skills are everything. Definitely research about soft skills so you know how to talk about them, right? So let's get into a couple common questions you guys might hear in today's interviews. So in the past, I think it was common for interviewers to just be a little more direct, a little more black and white, like what is your greatest weakness, right? But today, I think that is rephrased often as what would you improve about yourself? So this gets to the self-awareness aspect, right? For that question, guys, super important answer, the way you answer it. Don't choose a flaw or a weakness or a problem that would eliminate you from the job, right? Be intelligent about this. So, for example, if you're applying for a management position, don't say your greatest weakness is you lack leadership ability. I mean, that would be bad, right? What's another tip we could give about that? What would you improve about yourself? How should we answer that question?
Well, you definitely do want to be honest, because I think more and more people can tell if someone is being disingenuous or coloring the truth a little, right? So if you're wanting to say like, oh, I'm just too much of a perfectionist, and then you end up complimenting yourself and it's sort of clear to the other person that really you're just taking that question and twisting it as a chance to brag about yourself. That also doesn't work.
Nope. Remember, guys, in the last episode of this series, we talked about the importance of standing out as a unique person, and this is a great way to do that. These days, guys, we talked about soft skills being important. There's all these trendy, hot words like vulnerability, self-awareness, being genuine. And, guys, these aspects are also important to employers. They want to know the real person so they know what to expect when you work for them and with them. So, an example answer I could give if I were asked that question, I would say that currently I am working on improving my ability to trust my intuition or my gut instinct instead of second guessing what I feel to be the right answer or what I feel to be the right action. So the way that I am working on that is by journaling every morning and every night. To examine what I did that day, to trust myself and not question my ideas and instincts. So that would be a great answer for an interview, and it's totally true.
Yes, and you can see what a better question it is instead of just like, tell me about your biggest weakness. Instead, we're focusing on how are we fixing that? What are we doing?
Totally.
And for you to be able to give concrete examples of what you're doing to work on that and improve, that's so strong.
Totally, guys. Remember, you're always needing to include the solution, how you are actively trying to improve something about yourself. So another common question these days, guys, is tell me about a time you had to deal with conflict at work. Again, guys, be honest. Don't make something up. Don't try to say something you think they want to hear. What you do need to try to do is share a clear and organized story, how it ended, and what you learned from that conflict. This is definitely a question you need to practice beforehand, guys, so you make sure to provide a clear and organized answer. So just to remind you of some vocab we've talked about so far, before getting into that role play, soft skills, more important today to employers than in the past. Soft skills, these personal attributes, things you are born with, things you have developed yourself, not so much learned in a classroom, right? Or learned in a school or training session. And that is compared to hard skills. These are the skills and abilities you got from school or in job training. And then conflict, that was the word in the last question we mentioned. Conflict is just a clash or a disagreement. All right, so let's get into this role play here. So guys, this is a fantastic role play for how you should behave in your next job interview. So I'm going to interview you, Aubrey. You are Miss Jensen.
Perfect.
Well, Miss Jensen, let's dive in. First of all, what would you improve about yourself?
Well, I do still harbor a fear of speaking in front of people. This has plagued me since childhood. In fact, I do believe it has held me back in the past from professional development. That is why last year I joined Toastmasters, and I have made great progress in overcoming my anxiety.
That's excellent. I was in Toastmasters myself a few years ago. Anyway, moving on. Please tell me about a time you had to deal with conflict at work.
Well, I do have an experience that is still pretty fresh in my mind. This happened just a couple of months ago. A coworker of mine seemed to be losing motivation at work, and his performance was slipping. From him especially, this was shocking. He had always been such a positive member of the team. So instead of trying to, punish or threaten him, like saying if he didn't meet this specific KPI, there would be negative consequences, I took him out to lunch. I won't get into the details of his situation, but the reasons were personal, and he just needed some time off, and that is exactly what I gave him. And then upon his return, he started breaking even his own sales records. It was great. And, I try to take as much into my perspective as I can when evaluating others. And open communication is something that I actively encourage.
Oh, that was so good. Guys, if you were a hiring manager, you would hire Aubrey, right? Okay, guys. So the role play as well is in the description. So just look under this video for the whole role play. There is definitely a ton of vocabulary in there and great ideas for you guys to practice before your next job interview. Remember, guys, to hit like and subscribe on this episode, and we will see you in the next video.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye, guys.